Hi, I'm Elizabeth and welcome to my channel. I'm the artist and creator behind the Art Studio Life websites. And in this video, I'm sharing with you a brand new series that I'm creating. This is going to be a little more podcast style, but of course on video because it's here on YouTube. And this is something I've been wanting to do for quite a while actually, and I thought what better time to start this than now, here in January. We have a brand new year ahead of us, 2024, and so this is going to be something that'll be a little bit more personal, and I'm going to be bringing you into my studio, sharing with you my own personal work, things that I'm working on, and really speaking to you just in this manner about my work and problems that I encounter, how I solve them, show you my process, sketches, kind of how I start things. Painting is very nuanced. There's so many moving parts to learning how to paint and becoming a painter, and the learning never stops. No matter how many decades one paints, there is always something new to learn. And that's the wonderful thing about painting, but it's also very frustrating because there's just so much. And there's a lot of, I feel like, richness that can be gained and learned from peeling back those layers of the process and kind of just really being able to have an in-depth look of what the painting process entails. So I really look forward to sharing that in this series and showing you my work. It's something I haven't really done before. I haven't really talked about my own work at all, really, and kind of share that with you. So I look forward to doing that and kind of including that here. And I also, I will be showing, kind of doing a studio reveal. So there's been a lot of changes that have happened this past year, and one of them is my husband and I moved from Washington State to Arizona. So it's been a big change, a big move. And I have a new studio that I've been working on setting up and creating. And it's been really fun to put together and to really make a space that's very functional and organized. Those are things that I typically struggle with a little bit more. So it's been really good for me to really intentionally work on that. And I look forward to doing a whole studio reveal coming up soon and just showing you what I've done with my space and how I've made it to be just really work really fluidly, just in being able to paint in it, and also be a space that's inspiring and makes you want to spend time in it and want to think of ideas and what to paint. So those are things I will be delving into and look forward to sharing. So in addition to just learning in this series, I also really want it to be a series that's inspiring and that just helps you to maybe think of new ways to cultivate creativity in your life and to cultivate fresh ideas and kind of a desire to create and to paint, to draw, whatever medium you use as an artist. So those are things that I really hope for. So now, on that note of this being just a whole new year, brand new clean slate that we have, not that you can't restart, kind of have a refresh just during the year, but a new year does give the opportunity to really lay out plans for yourself and to organize yourself. And again, as I mentioned, organization isn't something that necessarily comes natural to me. And so it's something that I do have to work at and have to kind of really be intentional about. And when you organize your time and really do some deep thinking about what you want to do with your time and what you want to create, it really helps you to actually be much more productive, to be much more happy with the outcomes of what you do in your studio time, or I should say during your studio time. So I'm just sharing with you a few things that I personally am doing for myself, that I'm still working on and kind of writing out and planning out. And I have a couple of tools that some things are a little new to me. I've actually not been a huge planner user for a large portion of my life, but I did start last year using one, and really learned the enormous benefits that come from that. So that's one thing that I am doing, and really planning out all the tasks that I have to do every day, and it helps enormously to keep me just on track with all the different assignments that I need to get done and the things that I need to prepare, and also the painting time. I'm able to really be able to schedule out the time that I spend in my studio. And that's something I really encourage you to integrate into your life, because if we don't plan something, don't set aside just really intentional time, then very often it doesn't happen. And then you become disappointed with when we look back, let's say at the end of the year, it's like, oh, I didn't really create very much. I didn't really produce the paintings I hoped to do. So planning that out, planning out your time specifically, is really helpful for that. But then alongside that, and this is something I'm still in the process of doing myself for the year, kind of thinking through the painting series that I want to do and the things that I want to delve into. And, sometimes we don't know right ahead at the beginning of the year, kind of all the things we want to paint and create throughout the year. And that's totally normal and fine. I don't know all the things that I want to necessarily create throughout the year, but I do know of some things, kind of an overarching sort of idea of things that I want to delve into. And so those are things that I'm kind of writing down, and I have alongside my regular planner, which is kind of, again, has the months, the weeks, the days where you can write things out. But then I have something that's just a blank notebook where I can just kind of brainstorm things. That's where I just kind of put everything, all my ideas. Then I can organize that into the more organizational planner. So that's something that works for me. It's, I think what works best for everyone is something different, because we're all different and just work differently, and our brains work differently. So this is something that for me is becoming really helpful. It's something I'm integrating kind of a little bit more new. So just writing out, brainstorming ideas of paintings you want to create, things you want to do in your studio. That's all going in here for me. And I'll be sharing about that a little more just in kind of throughout this series of things that I want to delve into, projects that I want to do. So that's something that I'll be showing you. All right, so now I want to share with you a couple of paintings of mine before I wrap this video up, and also to kind of kickstart this whole series, because this is, of course, about art and painting and everything. So these two paintings are pieces that I painted in Italy. They are from a year ago, so they're quite a bit older than a lot of the work that I will be sharing, because I will be sharing things in the moment, things that I'm working on kind of right now. But I want to start this off with these two pieces. So the first one is a piece that I painted in Florence. And again, this is exactly a year ago that I did this. And it's from the view from Piazzale Michelangelo. I know I'm not pronouncing that correctly. I'll write it so you can see it, and just know if you ever do travel to Florence, where you can kind of see this view of the Duomo and the city of Florence. I had brought my Gorilla paint box with me, and because it's very portable and easy to use and can carry it around. So that was a really good experience, and it's so wonderful to be able to go just out in nature, just to be able to paint from real life, because there's so many nuances and things that you feel and see just when you're in front of your subject matter that you don't notice in a photograph. So I did this primarily, mostly from life, but then I wasn't able to finish. A lot of the clouds had come in, a lot had changed. That's one thing with landscape painting that can be hard, is that weather changes very often and very quickly. So you have to, that's things that I'll be touching on and talking about, but you kind of have to go with it, and sometimes change your painting kind of as the weather changes in front of you. But I wanted to work more into it, so I did continue on it from partly from memory and partly from images that I had taken while I was there. So there's definitely a time and place for photography, absolutely. So that was a really fun project. And I definitely, if you do travel to any city, encourage you to seek out places and inspiration that are just around you there. And another piece that I did, and this particular one is from Siena, and we got lucky because we had this beautiful view from our Airbnb. I remember walking in and just seeing this structure just outside of our window, and it was just wonderful and amazing. So it was really, really fun to paint and to be able to just put my paint box on the windowsill and work. Unfortunately, it was winter time, and so it was very cloudy most of the time, but I was able to catch some sunny weather and be able to paint it for kind of a window of time. But again, I also did use, after the fact, I did a lot of the painting kind of there in real life, but then I did work on it afterwards and did use some photographs to kind of help me complete the painting. And I did take some inspiration a little bit from just Sienese artwork. And if you look at just paintings that come from Siena, from Sienese artists from kind of the early Renaissance time, you'll notice that a lot of the figures and also the buildings and the structures are more elongated. So I did that a little bit in this painting, not entirely, not as much as the Sienese paintings, but I wanted to incorporate that just ever so slightly in this painting. So this building, the structure here is just ever so slightly elongated. So it was fun to play with that and also to work on precision and being precise in the painting. And so, yeah, again, with landscape painting, you can't always, the weather will not always cooperate with you, but photographs can sometimes help with that, which is, thank goodness. So I actually have one more painting to show you. So I said there are two, but there's actually three. This is a landscape painting, another landscape painting I did in Cortona, which is a very small town in Tuscany. And it was an absolutely beautiful place. Beautiful town, beautiful place, beautiful views, everything was pretty extraordinary. I encourage you to visit there if you ever make your way to that area. But I woke up very early one morning. It was very cold, but I really wanted to paint the surrounding landscape that was there because it just was extraordinary and it had these deep views and you could really see far out. So it's really fun to be able to capture that here. And also one thing I really enjoy about painting in Italy is that they have just the greens are so interesting. There's a lot of cool greens and warm greens and a lot of kind of just play between the colors, and it's really fun to capture that and to mix those colors and put them next to one another. So that's something that I really enjoyed, especially in this foreground area with that. It was, again, my hands were freezing cold while I did this. So it was quite cold out, and the bench I was sitting on was very cold. But when you're painting, you just try to focus on your painting and what you're doing and to get that done. And sometimes actually that's really helpful, kind of when in any sort of painting where you make yourself focus really hard for a couple of hours because you know there's a limited amount of time. And this is especially the case with landscape painting because you know the weather's going to change, the light's going to change, so you really just have a kind of narrow window that you have to work within, that this motif, your subject matter, kind of looks this way in front of you. So that's something that really forces you to focus deeply on what you're working on. And that's something I appreciate the most about landscape painting, is kind of that it forces you into that mindset. So I'll be sharing some pictures kind of to the side here, just of the area, the town. You can see, and also the name if you are ever interested in traveling to those areas. Now the box I used, the paint box I used for these landscape paintings when I traveled to Italy was this. It's called a Guerrilla Painter paint box, pochade box, and it served me really well. And I've used it, I've had this actually for maybe a little over 5 years now, that I've used it for travel. When you just want to bring something small size and something that isn't too heavy, a kind of regular French easel is actually can be quite heavy. And this is just very compact, and you can put your painting here, and this of course would have canvas on it, and this is your palette, and then this slides over to as like a compartment where you can keep paints and brushes. So it's very nice for storage, and again, very compact. You are of course limited in size. As you notice, all the paintings I showed you, they're all about 8 by 10, which is what this is. So that you kind of have to paint on the smaller end, but if you're just a trip and it's not your trip isn't only about painting, it's kind of, maybe it's a family trip, you're with other people, but you would like to do some painting on the side, this is something that's really great for that. It's not probably my most favorite thing to paint with. I'm still kind of on the lookout for something that's very easily transportable and lightweight and small and that you can travel with. So I'm really searching for something that kind of checks all the boxes, and once I find that, I will share that. But in the meantime, this has been just a really great tool to use, and I appreciate it. So that wraps things up here for this inaugural video for this new series. I would really love to hear your comments and just feedback about this new series, and if you have any ideas or things that you would like to hear about, like to learn, I'm always really excited to hear about those things and hear from you in regards to that. Thank you for watching, and till next time.